Page 4, Don't Want to Leave You Blues. It's a blues piece. Surprise, surprise. Kind of sounds like a boogie woogie. Okay, whatever. I'll talk about a few things. I'm going to start with the right hand. Second line. First measure is okay because they're all quarter notes. Second measure, you got all those eighth note things going on. If you just do the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, this shouldn't be too much of a problem, because then the second measure is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, the eighth rest comes on beat 3. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Do that slowly, and then you just gradually speed it up. You'll be fine. You have eighth notes in the left hand helping you out through part of that. Just play along with the left hand on those eighth notes. Remember the tied C's? Okay, you know how those work, I hope. Third line, last measure. You're starting out here. And then the last two eighth notes, they're suggesting a 1, 2. And if you look at the next measure, it's a 1 on the D. That's okay. So I prefer, when I get this kind of thing, is rather than using the thumb so much, is the last two eighth notes on the third line, I would finger those 2, 3. Then the 1 can play the next note. It's very common in piano music, and to me it's easier than using the thumb over. It's up to you how you do it, but you can experiment and see what you think. Watch out for the triplets. Now this is not a fast piece, so that helps a little bit. But it's like the last line on page 4, the second measure. Starting out with dotted half note is okay. But then when you get to the triplets, those are on beat 4. So it's 4 and a, right? 4 and a 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1. So make sure you get all the triplets or various places, you'll get those. Page 5, third line down. Let's look at this. We have more triplets and accidentals and things going on. So you're starting out measure 18. See the numbers with the boxes at the beginning of each line, those are measure numbers. I could say measure such and such. So if I want to measure 20, you'd go to measure 18, you'd count across 19, 20 to find what measure 20 is. Or you go to measure 21 and count backwards. It's up to you how you do it, but right now I'm talking about measure 18. Starting out with the C, fine, it's held over from before. And then you have an eighth rest on beat something. What is it? Can you tell me what it is? It's on beat 3. I'll give you a hint. When the left hand plays that quarter note, right above it, there's an eighth rest. That tells you that right when the quarter note's played, the half of that beat, there's nothing in the right hand. It's silent. So you're here, and then the left hand plays the eighth note, or the quarter note. And when it does, the right hand lifts up. So it's silent. And then immediately on the end of that beat, you got to play again. Then on beat 4, you've got these triplets, a 4 and a. Look at the notes. You have an E flat, an F, and an F sharp. Because it leads into the G coming up. You want to feel it going there. Going here. So that measure, I'd play the left hand to help the counting. So and I'm not going to swing the eighth notes right now. I'm just playing even eighth notes. It's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and type thing. Next measure, same thing, same rhythm. Well, same notes too if you look at it. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. The triplets there on that measure is a G flat, E or F, E flat. They're the same notes you played the measure before, except now we're going down. And generally in a chromatic passage, if you're going up, they'll use sharps, and if you're going down, they'll use flats. And that's why here you have an F sharp in the first measure, and in the second measure, you're going down, you get a G flat. This is how that works. Happens again at the end of the line there. In the last measure, you're up here. It's the same thing but an octave higher. In the last line, first measure, it's that type thing. Left hand. Look at the beginning of this. This is a very common boogie-woogie pattern. You'll get it a lot. And it can be in some pieces that are very quick. But I have found it cumbersome to use the thumb on everything. They're telling you 5-1, and then for the CA, again 5-1. If it's a slow piece and it's not too bad, you can get away with it. But I think a more reliable fingering, if you can get in the habit, is to do the 5-2 on the first one and a 5-1 on the other. So you're alternating between 2 and 1 for the top notes. I found that really helps, especially when you get into a fast piece. So if you get into the habit now, this is not a fast piece, you get into the habit here, it helps you there. So, and this is a wrist thing. I'm just using the wrist. It's very light. It's not staccato, but it's still, I just use the wrist. Then if I swing them, long, short, long, short, long, short. Type thing, and you've got the left hand pretty much. That's about all there is. Till you get to the very end, at the bottom of page 5, last measure, you have the first chord, and then that mess there at the end, look at it, it's an E, a B flat, and a D. And they're rolled. See the wavy line? They're arpeggiated very quickly. So the last measure with the pedal is that. Cool, dude. This says mournfully with a slow blues swing. So they give you a metronome of 80. That's a suggestion. You have to feel this. You have to feel a slow blues swing. What would that be? You have to decide what it is. And one day to the next, you'll feel it different. When you feel it different, you're going to play it different. And that's part of the beauty of music. I threw in a gotcha here, so watch out. On page 5, second line, last measure, left hand. See the half notes? You have a F and a C. And then you think it's going to be an F and a D, because that's what you've been doing. It's a G and a D. The bottom note moves too. So I do the first one with 5-1, and I do the second one with 4-1. That's a habit I do. If you want to do 5-1 on both, it's up to you. But I find 4-1 easier for the second one. There is a retard at the end. Of course, I'll ignore that when I play with a metronome. I can't retard. And the fermata at the end, I'm going to hold 4 counts. I just double it when I play with a metronome. Let's play this together slowly. You put in the dynamics. I'm just going to play it. Make sure you're playing the right hand a little louder than the left, because all the melody and stuff is in the right hand. The left hand is just accompaniment, and it stays back. You know, a piece is done for the melody. The melody controls it all. So make sure, like in the second line here, we want to hear the right hand. Because if you play them both the same, it can get lost. Keep the left hand softer so you can hear the right hand. Let's try this. I'll give us 4 counts since it's in 4/4 time, and this is in the key of C major. No sharps or flats except for some accidentals they put in for fun and effect and harmony, whatever. Let's see, left hand, right hand. Go ahead and put your foot on the pedal so it's ready to go when you need it. But don't use it until the last measure. Don't pedal this piece. 1, 2, and ready and go. And Again, I don't know if there's any recordings of this anywhere, so just in case there's not, I will play it for you how I think it might go, but please don't copy me. This is just to give you ideas of how to do it. You interpret it your way.